Well, here we are reconstructing a Seydel Volcany 12-hole harmonica. And you might say, I always have trouble figuring out, like how these things go. How can I know what I'm doing with this? And I would say to you that the long reeds go on the long part of the harp, okay? And then you also have the issues that the holes that are drilled for the reed plates have to kind of be lined up too. So in that case, this is the only orientation that works. I got the long reeds here, and I also know that this is going to have to go, this is the one on the top, by the way. So, let's see here. This one would go, all right. This and this, I have this, this and this. This is the top one, so it goes, that goes like this, and that has to go like this. So, like that. Okay, now, from alignment perspective, I suggest you put in the little fluted screws first. Why? Because the fluting makes sure that the reed pate is actually in the exact right position. These things can slide around a little bit on the normal screw heads, not on the fluted screws, but the other ones you can move it 1/4 of a millimeter or something. So I always put these in first. I'm going to come over here, and we're going to take and put, this goes on the outside here, and so we're coming here and like that. And once again, I'm going to go for my fluted screw here. Now, did you see how I turned the screw to the left until it clicked and then I took it in? That makes absolutely sure you're not going to have anything strip out. And I just take it kind of snug, not real tight, okay? And then I'm coming over here and I'm going to start dropping in the long reed plate screws. And fortunately, they're all the same length, so you don't have to worry about which one goes where. That is not a reed plate screw hole. That is the screw for the cover stanchion head. And we come here like this, okay? Then I usually pick up the harp, watch to the left, and I bring it in just a little teeny bit. Click. Don't forget, the screws are steel, but the they are harder than the German silver. So I just, which is what we're really going into, is German silver on the other side. So I always do this back off trick. And I just very, very very, very lightly, coming in, all of them. And you might say, well, what if you forget to tighten them up? Well, you have a harp that wasn't put together too well at that point in time, I'd say. Okay, now. All right. I'm just making sure that the alignment is kind of what I want it to be, because you can move these just a little bit. And I would say, here's another trick. What am I trying to do right now? I'm trying to make sure that the reed plates and the top of the comb are in the exact right plane, knowing that I have 1/5 of a millimeter movement room. All I have to do is put it on a glass and press down on these a little bit to make sure that the whole thing is aligned right. You might say, could you explain that again? Yeah. There's enough slop in the hole through the comb where the screw going through, you could move the reed plates up or down just a little bit, but I want them absolutely flat to the top of the harmonica. So to do that, I put it on the glass and I pressed, and it pressed the comb down and these. Do you have to do that? No. No, you don't. But I do. Absolute precision. And at this point in time, it would be wise. Let's go in and get the fluted screws on both sides now, bringing them down much more snug. I haven't really cranked to over tighten any of these suckers. I know that over here I have this spring, and I will hold the spring in position with a screwdriver like that. And then over here. Backed it up again, you saw? Make sure it's in, and of course the free end always goes to the outside because the slide presses in, and then that screw is to be tightened. Now, another good thing to do at this point is just to make sure all the screws are tight. You know, I mean, that's, if you talk about a professional mechanic, like a race car mechanic or something, you know, what's the difference between them and others? Well, first of all, they're more precise, but also they check their work all the time. Okay, that's fine, and I'm going to put it on paper to protect it. Now, cover stanchion screws go in, and you can actually start them quite nicely with your hand. And these, you don't have to worry about making them too high or too low because they do seat, as I mentioned to you, which is a nice thing. The screw itself has a larger part that won't go in, and at this point I can put it down because the cover stanchion's holding it off of there. Now this goes into the rubber a little bit. A little bit more, about like that. So that screw has to go into this rubber. And I put it here, and very gently. The trick to not injuring harmonicas is to just kind of be gentle and don't really force anything. Okay, so here's this one. This goes into the comb, so it's seated properly. This one's seated properly. Okay, and we just look around to make sure. Does it look like everything's lined up correctly? I mean, did I make a mistake anywhere? No, we're looking good. All right, then I'm going to come up and it's covers time. And we're going to do those. And the way I do this is I just lay this into position and I lay that into position. And kind of pick it up. And boy, that's interesting. Neither side has numbers. I've never seen that on a harmonica before. I don't have any problem with it. Ooh, wow, that's weird. Okay. And then that goes down like that. And I kind of let it drop a little bit. I'll come in here with this. And I kind of let the other side drop down a little bit and then come in and see how's our alignment. Are we getting a mating? And we are. But I have this cover on backwards. It happens. You just saw it. So I'm going to come here and come here like that. Okay. Normally I would actually put the bottom one in first. Like this. And like that. Just trying to hold it together with my hand a little bit. Drop this in. Then I'll let the bottom one drop down a little bit. I should have a pretty good lineup coming in, and I do. Then we need to be careful because these covers are supposed to come over that edge like that. They're really not supposed to go up and overlap that, so you kind of push down and see that these are seating in the ridge they have in the reed plate, which it is. And then we have, again, to be consistent, this is the bottom one, and this is the top one here. Now, what do you got to do now? Press down on the covers to make sure they clear the top because we got that H bar coming. So I push down on the covers to clear it from the H bar space. And then I come in and tighten down on the covers and screw that in. Okay, it says Volcany on top. Now, this next part is not so easy. You're like, gosh, you didn't make that look easy either, David. Jeepers. Okay. Do not bend the flat blank or your harp will not work really very well anymore. It'll bind the slide. Makes a lot of difference in the way these look. Okay. So you know it has a slot here for the slide spring, so you kind of want to be ready with that. I'll come here and I would put a little bit of slide oil on the top of the H bar. I will put a little bit of slide oil on both sides of the slide. Not a lot, just a little bit. So my construction, there's my H bar, and of course it kind of pushes this way because the spring is catching it. Then I come in and drop the slide into position like this, and you will note that this slide can go in two different ways. It has holes drilled where you can flip it. I believe, let me take a look for reference here and look at another Seydel to see. Yeah, it starts off in the relaxed position with the upper sector open. So I know it's going to go in like this, and I can plop this in like that. Then I put down pressure with my thumb. Okay, and I come here, and this is my flat blank. I'm still holding everything together with my thumb. I have my mouthpiece drops there. This goes here like that. And this one goes here like this. Now, I'm applying a lot of down pressure with my thumb to hold this thing all together. The slide's in too. But it can be done where you've got the other end of the harmonica kind of held in place. Okay, we've got a problem here of some kind. It does not feel proper, and it's fed. And I don't know why. Let's take a look. It must have popped off the screw head of the slide spring. I think it did. I'm going to change positions here because I don't do it this way. I'll show you the way I do it and why. They're not easy to get together because the parts don't sit together at rest. They separate at rest a little bit because, I'll show you the issue. Okay. The problem is when you go to put these things back together again, that when you put the H bar in and you release, it shoves the H bar over, so you're not lined up anymore. So that's a problem. So because the harmonica is held against something on the left now, I can come in and get that alignment proper. Then I can come in and drop my slide in like this, knowing that it'll be open in the open position on top. Then, so the being up against the ledge allows everything to line up totally properly. And then I can come here looking down the hole and make sure everything's together. Then I have the screws pre-ready to go. They drop into position like this. The hole's open. It can take the bumper with no problem. And that's the way it's supposed to feel. And then I go ahead and relax it again here. All right. Then when I'm giving it its final tightening, I'm going to work the slide just to make sure it doesn't have to be real snug, kind of a little snuggish. I don't crank them down real hard. Then you take a look at your alignment to make sure it's all proper. Yep, it is correct. So You can put them together without being up against a ledge, but you're going to have a little task on your hands. Beautiful instrument. It's a fantastic harp.